I've been a trucker for almost 12 years, long enough to know that the road has rules. You don't stop for strangers. You don't trust empty rest areas. And if someone knows your name at 3 in the morning, you drive. I learned that one the hard way. It was just after 2:30 a.m. somewhere in northern Nevada. No signal, no towns for miles. I was hauling frozen food east, running late, trying to make up time. The highway was empty, the kind of empty that makes your headlights feel too weak for the darkness ahead. That's when I saw him. A figure standing on the shoulder. No car, no flashlight, just a man, tall and still, facing the road like he'd been waiting for something. Or someone. I slowed down without thinking. You see a person out there, alone. Your brain tells you something's wrong. Maybe he broke down. Maybe he needs help. Then he raised his hand. Not waving, pointing straight at my cab. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. My name was stitched above the windshield inside the cab. No way he could read that in the dark. No way. I told myself I was tired, hallucinating. I didn't stop. In my mirror, I watched him disappear into the darkness. 10 minutes later, my CB crackled. Static at first, then a voice. Jackson, you should have stopped. I almost swerved off the road. Nobody uses my name on the CB. I don't have it as my handle. I never tell it to anyone out here. My hands tightened on the wheel. This isn't funny, I said. Who is this? Only static answered. Then, I just wanted to talk, Jackson. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the engine. I grabbed the mic again, yelling now, but the channel went dead. For the next hour, nothing happened. No more voices, no more figures on the roadside. Just the hum of tires and the dark stretching forever ahead. I convinced myself it was some sick prank. Maybe another driver messing with me. Maybe I'd dozed off. Then my fuel light came on. I had no choice. The next stop was a small, half-lit truck stop called Red Mesa. One of those places that feels abandoned even when it isn't. 3 pumps, 1 diner, a single flickering light buzzing over the lot. I parked near the building and stepped out. The air was cold, dead quiet. No engines running. No voices. Just wind and the creak of old metal. Inside, the diner was worse. 1 waitress behind the counter. 1 old man at a corner booth. That was it. She looked up as I walked in. Coffee? She asked. Yeah, I said, trying to sound normal. And, did anyone else stop here tonight? She shook her head. Just you, hon. I took a seat near the window, keeping my truck in view. The waitress poured my coffee, then paused. Long night, Jackson? The cup slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. She stared at me, confused. You okay? How do you know my name? I asked. She blinked. It's on your jacket, right here. She pointed. I looked down. Nothing. No name. Just plain fabric. I don't have a name tag, I said quietly. Her smile faded. You sure? The old man in the corner chuckled. I turned toward him. He was watching me now. Eyes sharp. Way too alert for someone who looked half asleep a second ago. You should have stopped, he said. My blood went cold. That was you on the CB, I said. He smiled wider. No, but I heard it too. I stood up so fast my chair scraped loudly across the floor. Heard what? The man on the road, he said. He comes through sometimes, talks to drivers who don't stop. I laughed, but it came out shaky. You expect me to believe that? The waitress avoided my eyes. The old man leaned forward. He learns your name when you pass him, he said. If you don't stop, he follows. Follows how? I asked. He tapped his temple. However he wants. I backed toward the door. You're both crazy. Maybe they were, but I wasn't staying. Outside, the lot was exactly how I left it. Empty, quiet. My truck sat under the buzzing light, alone. I climbed back into the cab, locked the doors, and started the engine. That's when I saw him. Standing between my truck and the road. Same tall shape. Same still posture. Only now he was close enough for me to see his face. Or what passed for one. His skin looked wrong. Too smooth. too pale. His eyes were black holes reflecting my headlights, and when he smiled, his mouth stretched wider than it should have. He raised one hand and knocked on my door. I threw it into gear and floored it. The truck lurched forward, horn blaring, and for a split second, he didn't move. Then the world blurred as I shot past him, heart hammering, breath stuck in my chest. In the mirror, I saw him turn. Not walking. Not running. Just standing there. Watching. I didn't stop again that night. Not for fuel. Not for rest. I drove until the sun came up and my hands were shaking too hard to hold the wheel. When I finally pulled into a busy rest area hours later, surrounded by other trucks and people, I thought it was over. Then my CB crackled. Soft. Close. Next time, Jackson, you won't pass me. I ripped the CB out of the dash and threw it onto the passenger seat. I finished that run and went home. Took a week off. Tried to forget. But sometimes, late at night, when the road is empty and my headlights cut through the dark, I swear I see someone standing on the shoulder. Waiting. And no matter how fast I drive, I never feel alone anymore. Story 2. The last call from mile 187. Every trucker has a story about a road they won't drive anymore. For me, it's Highway 187 in Eastern Oregon. Because that's where I answered a call that should never have come through. It started like any other night run. Just after midnight, empty trailer, heading south to pick up a load before sunrise. The sky was moonless, the kind of dark that swallows your headlights before they even reach the pavement. No radio stations, no phone signal, just the engine and the hum of tires. I like nights like that. Fewer cars, less noise, just you and the road. Then my phone rang. I glanced at it on the dash. No service. Yet the screen lit up. Incoming call. No name. No number. Just a blank line. I almost ignored it. Almost. But curiosity gets you out here. Curiosity and boredom. So I tapped accept. Hello? At first, I heard only wind. Then breathing. Slow. Heavy. Who is this? I asked. A voice came through. Low and strained. Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. The line cut. I stared at the phone. My heart was already beating faster. I checked the signal again. Still nothing. I told myself it had to be a glitch. Maybe the phone cached an old call. Maybe I imagined it. Then the phone rang again. Same blank screen. I answered. Listen. If this is some kind of joke, it's coming for you, the voice said. I couldn't outrun it, but you still can. Who are you? I demanded. There was a pause. Then. I was at mile 187. I shouldn't have stopped. The call dropped. I slowed without realizing it. Mile 187. I glanced at my GPS. I was less than 5 miles away. That's when I saw the hazard lights ahead. A truck sat on the shoulder, trailer crooked, lights blinking weakly in the dark. No other cars. No buildings. Just open land and endless road. My gut twisted. This had to be the caller. A breakdown. Someone needing help. Then I remembered his words. Don't stop. I stayed in my lane and drove past. As I did, my headlights swept across the cab. The driver's door was open. And hanging from it was a man. His body twisted unnaturally, feet dragging on the asphalt, arms stretched toward the ground like he'd tried to crawl away. His face was turned toward the road, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream. I shouted and slammed the brakes before my brain caught up. The truck skidded, horn blaring. Then I forced myself to hit the gas again. I didn't look back. My phone rang the second I passed the mile marker. I answered without thinking. I saw you, I said. You're dead. The voice was closer now. Clearer. I know, it said. My blood ran cold. You said don't stop, I whispered. I didn't stop. That's good, the voice replied. But it doesn't mean you're safe. What do you mean? It follows anyone who hears it, he said. I heard it first. Then you did. A sound came through the line. Like something being dragged across metal. "It's on your road now," he said. My headlights flickered. The engine sputtered for a second, then steadied. "Where is it?" I asked, barely breathing. "Behind you." I glanced in the mirror. At first, I saw nothing. Then, movement. Something dark was crawling along the highway behind my trailer, low to the ground. Too fast. Its limbs bent the wrong way, jerking and snapping as it pulled itself closer. It wasn't running. It was climbing. Up the back of my trailer. I floored it. The speed climbed, but I could feel it now. A vibration through the frame. A dull thud as something hit the metal behind me. Then another. Then scratching. I could hear it through the cab. My phone was still pressed to my ear. "What is it?" I shouted. "I never saw its face," the voice said, "but I heard it breathe, right before it took me." The scratching moved closer to the cab. Left, right, above. Then a heavy weight slammed onto the roof. The cab dented inward with a loud crack. I screamed and swerved, barely keeping control. "How do I get rid of it?" Silence. Then, softly, "You don't." The call ended. I prayed. I begged. I did everything but stop. The road ahead curved sharply toward a narrow bridge. Old. Rusted. A sign flashed past. Max 40 miles per hour. I hit it at almost 70. The truck shook violently as I crossed. Metal groaned. The trailer fishtailed. And something flew off the roof. I saw it in the mirror. A dark shape tumbling into the black water below. I didn't slow down until the sun started to rise. When I finally stopped at a busy rest area hours later, I got out and checked the roof. Deep claw marks ran across the metal. And one long dent, right above my seat. Like something had been lying there. Waiting. I called the police. Told them about the truck at mile 187. They found it. But there was no body. No blood. Just an open door. And inside the cab, a phone. With one recent call. To my number. I don't drive Highway 187 anymore. And I never answer my phone at night. Because sometimes, when the road is quiet and my signal drops to nothing, my phone still lights up. Blank caller. Waiting. Story 3. The Man in the Reflector Vest. I've driven 1,000,000 miles, and I can tell you this. If someone waves you down in the middle of nowhere at 3 in the morning, you keep driving. I learned that the hard way in western Kansas. It was a long haul from Denver to St. Louis. Flat land, empty highways, nothing but grain silos and darkness. I'd been awake too long, fighting that heavy feeling behind the eyes, when I saw him. A figure standing on the shoulder. Reflector vest. Hard hat. One arm raised, flagging me down. At first, I thought road crew. Maybe an accident ahead. It wouldn't be the first time. I slowed. That's when I noticed something was wrong. There were no cones. No trucks. No flashing lights. Just him. Standing perfectly still in my headlights. I rolled my window down a few inches. "Everything all right?" I called. He didn't answer. He just stepped closer. That's when I saw his face. Or what was left of it. His skin looked gray, stretched too tight over bone. His eyes were sunken, dark pits that reflected no light. And his mouth, it hung open like he was trying to scream, but no sound came out. Every instinct in my body told me to hit the gas. But before I could, he spoke. "Your backlight is out," he said calmly. "It's dangerous to drive like that." His voice didn't match his face. Too normal. Too calm. "I'll check it at the next stop," I said, already easing back onto the throttle. He reached out and slapped his hand against my door. "Hard. Now," he said. I jumped and floored it. The truck lurched forward, and in my mirror I saw him stumble back into the dark. I told myself it was just fatigue, hallucination, the brain playing tricks when you're tired. But a few miles later, my CB radio crackled. "Driver, you should have stopped." I nearly swerved off the road. I grabbed the mic. "Who is this?" Silence. Then, "I warned you about the light." My heart was pounding. "Listen, man, If this is some kind of joke. You won't make it far without it, the voice said. They'll see you. Who will? But the radio went dead. I drove faster. The road stayed empty. No cars, no trucks, just me and the black ribbon of highway. Then I saw him again. Ahead of me. Standing in the middle of my lane. Same vest, same hard hat. No way. I slammed the brakes and swerved, barely missing him as I flew past. In my mirror, he didn't move. He just turned his head and watched me go. The CB crackled again. You can't drive past what's already waiting. My hands were shaking now. What do you want from me? You're marked, he replied, just like the others. I didn't answer. I couldn't. A mile later, my trailer lights flickered. Then my dash flashed a warning. Rear light failure. I cursed. Of all times. I debated pulling over, but after what I'd seen, there was no way I was stopping on that road. So I kept going. That's when the tapping started. Soft at first. From behind the cab. Tap, tap, tap. Like fingers on metal. I glanced in the mirror. Nothing. Then I heard footsteps. On my trailer. Heavy. Slow. Walking forward. The tapping turned into scraping, claws dragging along steel. My breathing turned shallow. No. No, no, no. The CB radio hissed. He's coming to fix it for you. The footsteps reached the back of the cab. Then something slammed against the rear wall. The whole truck shook. I screamed and mashed the accelerator. Another slam. Then another. Metal groaned. And then I heard it. Right behind my head. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Close. I didn't dare turn around. Almost there, the voice whispered through the CB. Just a little more. My headlights caught a sign ahead. Truck stop. 1 mile. I've never been so relieved to see anything in my life. I pushed the truck harder than I ever had, engine screaming, praying it wouldn't give out. The breathing grew louder. Closer. Then, just before the exit ramp, there was a final udar, a massive impact that rocked the cab. And suddenly, silence. No footsteps, no breathing, no voice. I didn't slow until I was under bright lights. I pulled into the truck stop, jumped out, and ran around the back. My rear light was shattered. Completely smashed in. And above it, deep handprints in the metal. Not human. Too long, too thin. I called the police, told them everything. They searched the area. They found nothing. No man, no vest, no hard hat. Just one thing. A reflective safety vest lying in the ditch near the highway. Burned black. With a name stitched on the chest. Miller. A trooper later told me a road worker named Miller had been killed on that stretch years ago. Hit by a truck whose rear light was out. They never found who did it. I quit that route. But sometimes, late at night, when my CB is quiet, I still hear it crackle. And a calm voice say, "Your light's out, driver." Story 4. The mile that wasn't there. They tell you every mile is on the map. Every exit, every stop, every stretch of road. That's a lie. Because there's 1 mile in eastern Colorado that doesn't exist anywhere. Except when it wants you. I found it during a night run from Cheyenne to Pueblo. It was after midnight, clear sky, no traffic, just me, my headlights, and the endless dark. I'd driven that route dozens of times before. Straight shot, easy money. That's why I noticed when my GPS went quiet. No directions, no distance, just a blank screen and a spinning icon. I tapped it. Nothing. Great, I muttered. Perfect timing. I kept driving, waiting for the signal to come back. Then I saw the sign. No services, next 62 miles. That wasn't right. There should have been a rest area in less than 20. I slowed down, scanning the road. The air felt wrong. Thick, heavy, like the world was holding its breath. A few minutes later, my headlights caught another sign. Old. Rusted. Hand-painted letters. Last stop before the mile. I laughed nervously. Yeah, okay. But my stomach tightened. I passed it. The road dipped slightly, and everything changed. My radio cut to static. The stars vanished behind low clouds. Even the hum of my engine sounded muffled, like I was driving underwater. Then I noticed something else. The mile markers. They stopped counting. One said mile 217. A minute later, another. Still mile 217. Then another. Same number. Over and over. That's not funny, I whispered. I checked my speed. 65. I should have been past that mile in under a minute. But 10 minutes went by. Still mile 217. The road didn't curve, didn't change, just straight black asphalt stretching into fog. That's when I saw the lights. Red taillights ahead. Another truck. I'd never been so happy to see anyone. I sped up, closing the distance. As I got closer, I could make out an old rig. Rusted trailer. Dirty cab. No company name. He was crawling, maybe 30 miles an hour. I flashed my brights. No reaction. I got on the CB. Driver ahead, you alright? Nothing but static. I pulled alongside. And that's when I saw the driver. Or what was left of him. His head was slumped against the window. Skin gray. Mouth hanging open. Eyes staring straight ahead, unblinking. Dead. But his hands. They were still gripping the wheel. The truck was driving itself. I shouted and slammed the brakes, falling back behind him. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst. Then his brake lights came on. Slowly, he pulled to the shoulder. Against every instinct, I slowed too. I don't know why. Curiosity, fear, or something else pulling at me. I stopped a few yards behind him and grabbed my flashlight. The night was dead silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. I stepped down and walked toward his cab. The closer I got, the colder it felt. My breath fogged in the air. I reached the door and shined my light inside. The driver was worse up close. Skin stretched tight, sunken cheeks, black veins under the surface. And then, his eyes moved. They rolled toward me. My blood turned to ice. His mouth twitched, and a voice came out that didn't belong to him. "You're late." I stumbled back. What is this place?" He smiled. Slowly. "This is the mile," he said, "where drivers go when they don't stop in time." "Stop where?" I asked. "At the last stop," he replied. "Before the mile." My radio crackled behind me. I turned. Static. Then a whisper. "Join us." I ran. Back to my truck, heart in my throat, fumbling with the door. The moment I climbed in and slammed it shut, the dead truck's engine roared. In my mirror, I saw it pull back onto the road and start chasing me. I floored it. 70, 80, 90. The speedometer climbed, but the distance between us didn't change. The road ahead stayed the same. Endless. Mile 217. Again. 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 My radio burst to life. Voices now. Not one. Dozens. All whispering at once. "Stay. Pull over. End the drive. Rest." I screamed and shut the radio off. The dead truck pulled closer. I could see its headlights filling my mirrors, feel the vibration through my cab. Then, through the fog, I saw something ahead. A faint glow. Yellow light. A building. A rest stop. I aimed for it and pushed everything the truck had left. As I crossed the parking lot, the world snapped back. Sound rushed in. Wind. Engine. Night insects. The dead truck was gone. I skidded to a stop under bright lights and sat there shaking, unable to move. A man came running out of the building. Middle-aged. Normal. Alive. "You okay, buddy?" he asked. "You look like you saw a ghost." I just stared at him. Where am I?" He frowned. "You're at the Sand Creek rest area. You look like you've been driving too long." I checked my dash clock. Only 5 minutes had passed since I saw the first sign. 5 minutes. I told him what happened. He didn't laugh. He got quiet. Then he said, "You're not the first one." He pointed down the road. Old-timers talk about a stretch they call the mile that isn't there. Shows up when drivers skip this stop. Folks who don't make it back. They're never found. I stayed there until sunrise. And I never drive past that rest area anymore. Because sometimes, when I pass it at night, I swear I see a sign just beyond the lights. Rusty, hand-painted. Waiting. Last stop before the mile. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. And to every trucker out there, driving through the night, through empty highways and endless miles. Stay safe, trust your instincts, and if something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Sometimes the road knows more than we do. If these stories stayed with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which one disturbed you the most? Leave a comment below. And if you enjoy true, quiet horror like this, consider supporting the channel. It really helps more than you know. To everyone listening right now, thank you for being here. And to all the drivers out there, have a safe drive, and good night.